Pani, you can start.
Okay, ma'am, 1 minute, I'm starting. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Panindra. So I'm a reactive volunteer, and I'll be hosting the talk for today. So Creative is a group of same-minded students, teachers, scientists, engineers. So we strive towards spreading the knowledge, and then our tagline is Creative Knowledge Square. So spreading the knowledge also increases our knowledge. So twice the knowledge is our tagline. We conduct many workshops, summer camps, and industrial visits so that everyone can learn. And we're trying to educate science in a normal way, like to all the humans, like all the people, rather than putting it a completely scientific way where only people who are in science can understand. So we're trying to reach the all the people in society. So Reactive Weekend Talk has been started almost 2 years ago, and we have been continuously conducting the weekend talks on every Saturday without any break until now. So that's a record, and it has crossed 150 episodes. So we're very proud of that. And today's talk is about Ayurveda. So Kishore sir is the one who's delivering the talk today. So let me give a little introduction about Kishore sir. So Professor Kishore Patwardhan completed his BAMS from SDM College of Ayurveda in Udupi in 1998, and his MD in Ayurveda in Kriya Sharir Ayurveda Physiology from Banaras Hindu University in 2001. Since 2004, he has been working at the Department of Kriya Sharir, Faculty of Ayurveda, Banaras Hindu University, as a faculty member. In 2009, he completed his doctoral work with focus on identifying various issues, concerns, and challenges of Ayurveda education in India and has continued his work since then. Professor Patwardhan has received the Vaidya Scientist Fellowship from TDU Bengaluru and is a recipient of Dr. C. Dwarkanath Award from Indian Association for the Study of Traditional Asian Medicine for the year 2019. He has served as a member of the Scientific Advisory Committee of IPGT and RA, CCRAS, and the School of Life Sciences, MAHE, Manipal. Additionally, he has worked as the principal investigator and coordinator of the Ayurveda network initiated under the Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching of the Ministry of Education, later receiving support from the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India under the Ayurgyan scheme. His area of academic interest includes Ayurveda biology, Ayurveda education, drug safety, research methods, academic writing, and policies on higher education. He's also delivered lectures on those topics. So, without any ado, let's call Professor Patwardhan today to give a talk about Ayurveda and let us know the lesser known facts which most of us don't know. So, we hope like he gives a new idea or new like completely different perspective of Ayurveda today.
Uh,
Over
thank,
to you, sir.
thank you, Panindra. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Perfect, perfect. So, yeah, since thank you again, the team Creative, for giving me this opportunity. Especially, I would like to thank Dr. Satyajit, uh, who happens to be my friend, who informed me about this, and I thank him and also the hosts. uh, because this is the audience is largely of scientific community. I thought of talking about certain myths that are prevalent about Ayurveda, and I will be trying to give a factual kind of information about Ayurveda, right? And I'll try to be as honest as possible. This is what I'm going to, declare in the beginning, right? So depending on which kind of information you get, and what information you like to receive, right? You may have these two, extreme kinds of information about Ayurveda, right? On one hand, you know, I mean, these two are the mainstream, the information, two kinds of informations that are flowing in abundance, right? In social media and even in print media and so on, and they are quite opposite, and this is something very, very interesting phenomenon, right? So many of you would think that, Ayurveda is one of the safest, kind of medicine, because it doesn't have any side effects, because it is being used over, past few centuries, or thousands of years, some would say. And Ayurveda has got solutions to almost all diseases, right? It is just parallel to the current modern science, modern medicine, modern medical system, and it is a complete science of its own, right? In its own, it is a complete science. This is what many people think. And Ayurveda uses only herbs and medicinal plants, and Ayurveda employs a holistic approach or individualized approach. So this is what one set of people they think of Ayurveda. On the other hand, the other extreme, right? There are people who think that Ayurvedic medicines could be harmful. Ayurveda mostly doesn't help in treatment of any diseases. It is a pseudoscience, and it uses toxic heavy metals and hence unsafe. And physicians use the terms like holistic only to fool public. Again, see, these are the two extreme kinds of narratives that are prevalent, and I'm sure you would relate to some of these claims that you must have heard, right? There are some, activists who claim that Ayurveda is completely pseudoscience, whereas, some strong, staunch believers of Ayurveda, they say that no, it is complete science in itself. So what is the truth? So this is going to be my, the topic that I am going to talk today, right? What is the actual truth? So I would like to, throw light on this in this talk. Okay, so yeah, we have to go through some historicity before we start talking about Ayurveda, right? So currently we have Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, Bhela Samhita. These are the three most ancient, textbooks that are presently available, but not in their original forms. Of course, they have undergone a lot of editions, and some incorporations of new ideas and new chapters and all that. We do not have the actual original form in which they were actually composed, right? And most historians they believe that the documentation took place somewhere between second century BC and fourth century AD. So this is the time period. So we are talking about something that was documented around 2000 years ago. This we should keep in mind whenever we talk of Ayurveda. Then there are later editions like Ashtang Hridaya, Ashtang Sangraha, which was written somewhere around 6th century AD, and then Rasendra Mangala, for example, 7th century, 8th century AD, where the entirely new stream of science was, incorporated into Ayurveda, which we call Rasa Shastra. So Rasa Shastra uses mostly minerals and metals, after processing them, like bhasmas, for example. You must have heard of bhasmas, and you must have heard that, again, there are two extreme views about bhasmas. Some say that no, they could be toxic, again, renal toxicity, hepatotoxicity, and all that. And some would say that no, this is a nanomedicine, sophisticated thing, and it is very safe. Again, two kinds of narratives are there again regarding bhasmas. And then there are some textbooks, Bhava Prakasha, Madhava Nidana, Shangadhara Samhita, which were written somewhere around 13th century to 16th century AD. So Madhava Nidana deals with the diagnostics, Shangadhara Samhita deals with pharmacy, right, pharmaceutical procedures, and Bhava Prakasha deals with the materia medica, the identification of different medicinal plants, their uses, how on their effect on different bodily systems and all that. So these textbooks which I will be calling classical textbooks, right? In a common term to use. So they deal with many aspects of health and disease, starting from anatomy, physiology, pathology, diagnostics, dietetics, lifestyle, prevention, therapeutics. Right, all these fields are incorporated. They document some specialized practice also as well, right? Even in Charaka Samhita, even in Ashtanga, right? Old textbooks, you get the description about specialized practice like clinical medicine, Kaya Chikitsa, or surgery, Shalya Tantra, INDNT, Shalakya Tantra, pediatrics, Balaroga, or toxicology, geriatrics, sexual medicine. All this you get, right? At least the branches were identified and there was specialized practice in those days. And all these textbooks are written in Sanskrit language. This is a hypothetical suggestion, of course. Certain terminologies which we find in Ayurveda, they are very similar to those found in ancient Greek textbooks of medicine, like pneuma, prana, phlegm, shleshma, ignis, agni. Right? There are several such words which are, which may have common etymology. So the idea of Indo-European language family and Proto-Indo-European language, right? If this is considered, then all these Ayurveda and other ancient traditional systems of medicine, including ancient Greek medicine, I think all these can be traced back to somewhere around 8,000 BC. I think 7,000 BC, or somewhere around, right? And somewhere in the Western Asia, maybe Turkey or somewhere around that place. So this is another possibility, because several theories of Ayurveda, they share, they look very similar to ancient Greek medical theories, right? So I will be talking about how the theory construction took place in Ayurveda, right? Because ultimately all that Ayurveda deals with is based on these theories, right? So first theories, of course, see, these theories, they come from Nyaya and Vaisheshika schools of philosophies. So Nyaya philosophy deals with logic, right? Commonsensical logic, and Vaisheshika deals with physics, of course, a primitive form of physics, let us say, right? So the Panchamabhuta, it is a very common theory to most of the ancient Indian, you know, sciences, right? So they classified the entire observable universe into five classes, right? Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Up, and Prithvi. Akasha is the space, right? Not outer space. It is the space. I'm talking about something, and you are sitting in front of me. The space that is in between, there in between, that is the space, right? Akasha. It is not something like sky, or outer space. Vayu is wind, Agni is fire, Up is water, and Prithvi is earth. So, interpretation or translation of these five primary units as proto elements or elements or subatomic particles is problematic, and it could be misleading. So these are five primary units which Ayurveda considers to be the fundamental units uh, uh, that make up the entire observable universe, right? So according to this theory, the observable universe was classified into five classes. So this classification is based on the things that can be heard, shabda, things that can be touched, sparsha, things that can be seen, rupa, things that can be tasted, rasa, and things that can be smelled, that is gandha. So based on the five different sensory organs that we have, right? So these perceive different entities, and based on that, the entire universe was classified, and that is why the integration of Mahabhuta, it was done with respect to these Panchamahabhuta. I mean these sensory organs. Like for example, Akasha is integrated with the Shabda, because sound can travel even in empty space. Of course, that needs medium. Air is required. Possibly they did not know this difference between vacuum and all that. So they thought sound can travel even in empty space. Vayu, you can feel breeze only through touch. There is no other sense that can perceive the moving wind. So Agni, the fire, you know, from a distance also, if you want to perceive fire or light, it can be only through the eyes, right? Sensory organs, right? Eyes, view, vision. Water can be identified through, you know, taste, that is maybe salty water, sweet water, and all this might have been the reasons why this up was, or water was related to taste. And then Prithvi is Gandha. When it rains, the soil smells good. So these are some commonsensical observations that made them relate or draw equations between, these five different components or units with five sensory organs, right? But then uh, uh, there are things that can be seen as well as touched. For example, a tree, right? There are things that can be seen, tasted, and smell, eatables, for example. So hence it was logical to propose that everything is composed of these five units, but in different proportions. That is why it was argued that everything is panchabhautik. Right? Everything that you can perceive is made up of five mahabhutas, but arranged in different proportions. Right? Here's the saying, right? Everything in this universe is panchabhautik. So, but yes, panchabhautik, this theory of panchamabhuta could not differentiate between non-living and living. Even a rock is made up of five Mahabhutas, and even I am made up of Pancha Mahabhuta. So, how to differentiate between living and non living beings? Then the concept of Atman was brought about, right? Brought in. So, Chetana, it is called Chetana, right? So, living beings, they have got this Atma, and non livings, they do not have Atma. So, this was how the theories got evolved. But again, see, this too could not differentiate between health and disease. A healthy person also has got Atma, and a diseased person also has Atma. Then there was a need that was felt to develop a theory that could differentiate between health and disease. And that is why a theory of three dosha was evolved, right? Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. You must have heard of these entities, right? So again, how did they derive this theory? So, some preliminary observations will help us to understand this. Imagine a plant, right, kept in the dark in a closed, airtight jar, and it dies soon, right? So, too cold a temperature normally dies. Does not support life. Too cold a climate. An animal, when suffocated, dies. One cannot survive without water and food. So, warm on touch is a sign of life. See, these are some commonsensical observations, day to day observations, which must have made them to ideate that similar things should exist within the body also, just like outside world, which are essential for sustaining life. Similarly, inside also we should be having similar things. So if I ask you, right, name three essentials without which you cannot survive, I think most of you are going to say that air, food, and water. Air, we need to breathe. Food, we need to eat. And water, we need to drink, right? To survive, these are the three very essential things. So food comes from plants. Ultimately, even though if we eat animals, ultimately they derive their food from plants. So the energy, final source of energy is sun. So that is why they describe sun, water, and air to be the primary essential uh, factors which sustain the life. So sun, moon, and uh, this air. This is another version, but Soma, Surya, and Anila. Soma has got two meanings: water and moon, right? Anyway, so the way how these three factors sustain life. Similarly, inside the body also these three things they sustain life. This is what they hypothesized. So atmosphere is related to breath, movement. Sun is related to light, fire, heat, warmth, energy, nutrition, and water is related with hydration, nourishment, and cooling, and all that. So hence they developed a theory of three dosha: Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Vata is related to wind, Pitta to sun, and Kapha to water. Right? So Vata, just as wind, controlled all activities like movements. Pitta, just as sun and fire, generated heat, imparted color, and brought about digestion. Kapha, just as water, provided nourishment and acted as coolant. Okay. So if you observe within the body, you know, there are certain biologically identifiable entities which can represent Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So respiratory gases and gases in digestive tract, that can be identified with Vayu or Vata. Pitta, acidic gastric secretions, bile and pancreatic juice, because digestion or cooking, right? Just like outside world we need fire, similarly inside our body we need Pitta. This is how they conjectured, right? So mucoid secretions in the gut and respiratory tract, they could represent Kapha, right? Water. So possible observational basis could be like inhalation and exhalation are nothing but movement of air in and out of the lungs. Flatus and belching are also experienced frequently. So under Vayu, right? Pitta, act of vomiting produces burning sensation because of acidity. The vomiters can be yellow to green, indicating the presence of bile and other juices. So mucus in lacrimal, nasal, and respiratory tract is profusely secreted when one is exposed to irritants such as smoke and dust. Or stools also contain mucus. Saliva is continuously secreted in the mouth, right? So this the Vata Pitta Kapha is a theory that is used to classify several things in Ayurveda. And there are some attributes like cold, dry, rough, light, minute, mobile are the characteristic features of Vayu. Moist, penetrating, hot, light, foul smelling, sour, flowing, and fluid. These are the characters of Pitta. Dense, slow, cold, viscous, clear, wet, stable. These are the features of Kapha. So possible observational basis of these are attributes. Why were these attributes used to describe Vata, Pitta, and Kapha? See, the breeze is cooling. The wet clothes get dried up when exposed to wind. Exposure to windy winters makes one's skin dry and rough. Wind is invisible, hence it is minute. Wind is very light and wind moves freely. So these could be some very simple observations which could have led to this framing of this theory. So fire radiates heat, heating helps cook food. Vomitus is fluid that is acidic, sour, produces burning sensation, is yellow to green, and smells foul. So all qualities of pitta stand explained. So mucus is viscous, gel-like, slimy, slippery. Mucus is normally clear in appearance. Because of viscous nature, it does not flow freely, is somewhat stable, and that is why dense. See, vata, pitta, and kapha. Again, inhalation, exhalation, vata, digestion, pitta, and lubrication, kapha. Again, they could have clubbed few more functions, because these three are not the only functions which are seen in body, right? Bodies exhibit so many other activities. So all these activities had to be clubbed under these categories. So they clubbed like motivation, movements, regulation of physiological urges, normal movements of bodily fluids, perception, all these under vata. Similarly, warmth of the body, vision, hunger, thirst, taste, glow, intellect, discretion, valor, normal consistency of bodily tissues, which could be categorized because of some similarities, right? They were categorized under pitta. Similarly, stability, resistance against disease, joining different structures, these functions were ascribed to kapha. So this is how a theory was built. And then they used this theory to explain the diseases, explain physiology, explain pathology, explain diagnostics. Everywhere they used this theory. So this theory works well as a classifier, right? It works well. And even today, physicians depend on this theory. Okay. To identify a personality, you might have heard of Prakriti, Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, Kapha Prakriti. Right, a person's Prakriti can be identified based on these, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or personality. Similarly, physiology, right? Vata resides in Asthi, for example, or maybe Pranavayu, Apanavayu, Vyanavayu, and such classifications and their locations, their functions have been described. Pathology, right? Pitta is responsible for production of diseases like jaundice. Okay, Kapharja diseases are obesity or maybe some other diseases where respiratory illnesses, right? They are kapha disorders. In diagnostics also, right? If there is pain, it is vata. Inflammation, swelling, burning, pitta, right? Itching or some allergic reactions, it is kapha. Even materia medica, right? Gugulu is useful in obesity, right? It alleviates kapha. So every medicinal plant has been classified on the basis of tridosha, on which dosha it acts, right? Even therapeutics like vata diseases, you go for a medicated enema, panchakarma, right? You must have heard. In pitta disease, you go for virechana, the purgation, therapeutic purgation. In kapha disease, you go for therapeutic emesis or vomiting. So everywhere Ayurveda uses this theory. So this theory of Tridosha acts as a connector between all these different domains that Ayurveda deals with. And see, this theory was sufficient and useful, and it worked as heuristic. Okay. So, for example, see the features of different individuals belonging to different prakriti. Everything again is based on these uh, attributes. Vata, lean and thin body frame, unstable with respect to hunger, bowel movements, sleep, determination, quick to get started, quick to grasp, quick to forget, quick to catch diseases. See, quickness is a feature of Vata, right? That's why these are the features which are seen in Vata individual. Cold intolerance is in Vata. Rough and dry skin, hair, unstable bonding with people because of lightness of Vayu. So this is how they explained. So they used these Vata Pitta Kapha to identify certain observable entities, maybe psychological features, physiological features, physical features, all that. So Pitta Prakriti individuals, they have got strong hunger, good digestion, good analytical skills, leadership qualities, early baldness and graying is seen in them, easy irritability, short tempered. They have numerous moles, freckles, pigmentations, right? Intense body odor, heat intolerance. See, all these come from the features of pitta, the the qualities or attributes that I described for pitta. They are related with pitta prakriti individuals also. Kapha, strong and muscular body, attractive physique, voice, thick shiny hair, slow to start, slow to eat, slow to work out, slow to catch disease, slow to grasp, slow to forget, right? Cold intolerance, no irritability, calm and composed, strong bonding and good relationships. So these are the features of kapha. So this is how they used this tridosha theory to identify individual personalities also. And based on this, they advocated lifestyle. For a vata person, it is always better to avoid cold winters, and it is better to have a warm surroundings. For pitta individual, it is better to have a cold surroundings. So all this was discussed and prescribed. Okay, so these are some recent advances where they have been be able to identify some genetic basis for these three different categories of people, and now it is gaining popularity as genomics, right? Genomic level differentiation, right? For example, SNPs, single nucleotide polymorphism, was identified in certain sets of people, and it was also associated with certain kinds of prakriti people. So this is being worked on, and this is an emerging branch. But of course, it has not yet been able to give applicable or daily, finally translatable research as of now. But yes, many researchers are working on this, and many interesting findings have been documented. So this is how they explained. How did they acquire this knowledge? So this is called pramana, right? So pratyaksha, anumana, aptopadesha, and yukti. These are the four important pramanas that Ayurveda deals with. Pratyaksha is direct observation. Anumana is inference. For example, I see that wherever there is smoke, there is fire. Yatra yatra dhumaha tatra tatra vanni. This is a common thing, right? So if there is, whenever I saw smoke, there was fire. So repeated observations may lead to an inference that even in the absence of fire, if I am looking at smoke, I will infer that okay, there must be fire because of repeated observations. This is called inference. Aptopadesha is authoritative knowledge which has been documented. So Ayurveda also depends on authoritative knowledge, because sometimes if you are unable to give some logic, then we say that no, it is written in Charaka and hence it is Aptopadesha, which could be slightly problematic given the current sciences which encourage questioning. Pure dependence on Aptopadesha could be somewhat viewed from a skeptical point of view, right? Yukti is inference, of course, but based on multiple observations of multiple associations. So Anumana is single association, but when there is multiple association, for example, indulgence in some particular food habits leading to some disease, right? Maybe indulgence in some lifestyle activities, right? For example, obesity. Let us take, intake of food which is rich in fat, rich in carbohydrate, and not indulging in sufficient physical activity, not doing physical exercise, all this might lead to obesity. So multiple factors leading to obesity, this is a kind of yukti, right? So multiple factors and their associations, if we are able to find out, so this is called your logical reasoning. See, basically, if you go to Atharva Veda, which is the basis of Ayurveda, right? Ayurveda refers to Atharva Veda at several occasions. In Atharva Veda, most of the therapeutic procedures, they relied on mantra and Daiva Vyapashraya Chikitsa, which is called faith-based healing, because they were unable to identify the causes, right? Causation. So, because of the limitations of their tools, right, they did not know what infection was because they did not have microscope, obvious. So, in those days, these, every disease was used to be thought of to be produced due to some, maybe some demon, some god, and all that. So, the treatment also used to be some performing some yaga, yajna, havana, and all that. But when it comes to Charaka Samhita, so Charaka Samhita marks the transition where this faith-based healing got transformed into logical reasoning or reason-based approach. So faith-based approach was transformed into reason-based approach, and that is why Charaka Samhita is one of the very important documents which is actually scientific, which is truly scientific in nature, right? Of course, certain times it contains some old Vyapashraya component also, but most of it is logic based, right? But of course, because of their limitations of those tools that they used, there are some errors, and obviously they have to be there because this was documented 2000 years ago. But the logical reasoning was adopted by Charaka, right, in his Charaka Samhita. So Ayurvedic theories were mostly based on observation-driven theory construction. Of course, some interventions could have been documented based on some forms of experimentation, but these experimentation would not meet the current criteria of robust experimentation, like randomized controlled trials or maybe meta-analysis or systematic reviews, right? So all these were not there. But yes, see, they documented, yes, that like one drug is better than other even in the same action. For example, purgatives, so this drug is mild purgative, this is strong purgative. So such descriptions they have given, it means that they had compared the effects of the same drug in multiple patients, and then they would have told that yes, or written that this is mild, this is moderate, this is severe, and all that. So they must have performed some kind of comparison or some kind of experimentation, but again the documentation of such experiments is not there, right? Hence, Tridosha-based interventions could still be valid, but many speculations are not. So this is what I want to highlight here, right? For instance, pathogenesis of most of the disease. diseases is based on conjectures, which may not be true in strict biomedical sense. For example, again, let us take the example of obesity. You indulge in fat food intake, sweet food intake. You don't indulge in physical activity, right? Sleep for the entire day, right? Oversleep, so physical inactivity. So all this leads to obesity, right? So in Ayurveda, they thought that all this would lead to kapha vriddhi, and that is why obesity was considered as a kapha disease, right? Indulgence in kapha vriddhi kara ahara and vihara, right? Lifestyle and food would lead to a formation or production of obesity, a disease which is again categorized as kapha. So see, this is very very logical, but the explanation that they give, right? There is increase in kapha, and that is why there is production of obesity. This is oversimplification. And now we know that there are so many factors involved in obesity. There are hormonal factors, there are nutritional factors, there are physical activity and other related factors. Even stress could lead to obesity. All this we know now. But in those days, they just said or conjectured that it is because of kapha, increase in kapha. So what we need to do now is, this causative factors are true and effect is also true. So cause and effect relationship is true, but the mechanisms were probably not that robust. And obviously, we can understand why were they not so robust, right? So see, one example we can take. Imagine you are watching someone suddenly fall to the ground. Their body goes stiff. They start shaking uncontrollably. Their arms and legs jerk around, and they might make strange noises or even bite their tongue. After a while, the shaking stops, but they look really tired and confused, like they don't know where they are. Finally, everything normalizes. So all this happens within a span of 15 minutes or so. So perfectly healthy individual develops these features all of a sudden, and within 15 or 20 minutes he becomes normal. So now we know that okay, it could be an attack of epileptic fit. But you imagine that you are in 2nd century BC, and what would have you thought? Natural. It was natural for them to think in terms of maybe gods, bhuta, pishacha, rakshasa, and all that possession, right? Supernatural powers, and they might have started offering sacrifices and performing homa, hamana, puja, and all that. And since this is a disease or symptom that subsides automatically, self-limiting, several diseases are self-limiting. Even if there is epilepsy, after a while the person becomes normal. So they might have thought that okay, because we performed this puja, he got normal. See, this is how observational theory construction works, right? They drew causal association or causal relationship between performing sacrifices and relief in symptoms. And if we are now we would have thought, okay, let us get two groups, right? In one group we would give offering or sacrifices, and another group we won't do anything. Then possibly we would have come to know that okay, this is as good as doing nothing, right? But possibly they did not do this, and that is why they ascribed several of such observations to several such imaginary things. And that is where this Daivya component comes in. See, that is why we need to understand that causation and association are different. Most of you are being science enthusiasts, I need not go into this, but again, yes, this is one of the very good pictures that depicts this very good illustration, right? Association is not causation, right? It looks as though the cat has jumped and that has caused the breakdown of this roof, but actually it is otherwise, right? There was a hollow space, and just the cat possibly felt comfortable, and it sat over there. So see, this is how we need to understand that observational documentation and experimental documentation are different. So see, this there was a study, right, which said that those who live a long life, healthy and long life, they drink more and more coffee. This was an observation that was recorded using an observational study. So drinking coffee is associated with longevity. This is the conclusion that they should have recorded. But they went a step ahead and said that no, 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 no. Drinking coffee leads to longevity. See, these are two things which we need to understand. Drinking coffee is associated with longevity is different from saying that drinking coffee leads to longevity, right? So actually, it could be something else. It could be affordability because coffee is a costly drink. Good socioeconomic status. Being rich could have been contributed to, being healthy and living long, because they could have maybe afforded good health care. We don't know. So without performing an experiment, we will not be in a position to say whether actually drinking coffee led to longevity. So this is something that we need to understand, and this is where many of our observations documented in Ayurveda possibly mistook, this association for causation, and this has happened in most of the sciences. Even today, it happens. So I'm not ridiculing our ancient scholars, but it is a common thing to mistake association for causation, and this is where we have to be very careful while interpreting and understanding Ayurvedic literature. And human experimentation has got a very dark history, especially when it comes to physiology. Ayurvedic physiology, they never did such experimentations. And during post World War, Second World War, so many inhuman experiments were carried out. Living human beings were thrown into different ponds with different water of different temperatures to see for how long a person can survive. All these are recorded. Even today, it is there. These records are available, right? That is why this Nuremberg code was to be developed, right? So this is one example, right? So human experimentation has got a very dark history, and that is why in Ayurveda you don't get such inhuman experimentation, and that is why there were some errors. That is the reason, right? So when you look at Ayurvedic literature, it is very difficult for us to build a continuous or coherent story out of the existing textbooks. Rational and scientific descriptions are interspersed with faith-based or speculative arguments. Diseases are named after presenting symptoms. For example, fever, a chapter on fever, right, jvara, or bleeding disorder, raktapitta, epilepsy, unmada, apasmara, abdominal lump, gulma, or abdominal pain, shula. See, this is how the chapters are classified, and everything is classified into vata, pitta, kapha. So this is oversimplification, right? There could be hundreds of different causes for production of a symptom of fever. It could be viral infection, it could be bacterial infection, it could be inflammation, it could be something else, it could be unknown origin, fever of unknown origin, or pyrexia of unknown origin. It is a entity which is documented in modern textbooks of medicine and surgery, right? So to say that everything can be explained through vata, pitta, and kapha would be a far-fetched argument. So this is where we need to work on, right? These symptoms and symptom complexes and presentations, these are very important because they are observations. But these, speculative arguments are probably not that important. Where we need to work on, this is what I think. So yes, testing Tridosha theory. I think you got what I wanted to say, right? So all the obesity people need not be indulging with the same etiological factors. There could be something else, maybe endocrinological disorder, maybe Cushing syndrome. This kapha increasing food and lifestyle. need not be associated with all cases of obesity, right? So this is where we need to improve upon. So there is another debate called science and pseudoscience debate. When we start saying that, everything that is there in modern science, it is there in Ayurveda. When we start saying this, then we make Ayurveda a pseudoscience. For example, if we say that, these pishacha, rakshasa, and all, they are nothing but bacteria or different classes of virus, then these are the kinds of statements that make Ayurveda a pseudoscience. Otherwise, inherently, Ayurveda is not a pseudoscience. This is what I want to give. The crux of my talk is that inherently Ayurveda is not a pseudoscience. But over enthusiastic scientists, especially within Ayurveda community, when they say that no, everything that is documented in Ayurveda is complete science, or whatever the modern science is saying, everything is there in Ayurveda. See, these are the kinds of statements that make Ayurveda a pseudoscience. So we should be careful enough to evaluate the different versions, that speak of Ayurveda. So instead, Ayurveda is, if it is approached with neutrality, many observations can stand the scientific scrutiny. Preventive aspects, dietetics, therapeutics, lifestyle recommendations, medicinal plants, pharmaceutical processing, and everything is of immense value, right? So to rubbish Ayurveda saying that it is pseudoscience is utterly wrong thing to do. Similarly, to say that Ayurveda is a complete science which doesn't need any modifications is also equally wrong. I think this is the crux of message that I wanted to give. Yes, there are some public health issues which I would like to touch very briefly within next not more than 5 minutes. See, there are some issues which we need to tackle, like poor standards of marketed products, which contain adulterants, steroids, antibiotics, heavy metals, and all that. Yes, Rasa Shastra preparations could contain heavy metals which are added intentionally, and there could be, there has to be some uh, caution when you consume such products, which could contain some, if they are prepared uh, by not following the traditional methods, or and even if you follow sometimes, this heavy metal contamination can happen. So this is something, a serious issue which we should be taking care of. Lack of credible or high grade evidence like systematic reviews and meta-analysis to show that Ayurveda interventions work. In few diseases, yes, there is good evidence, but in all diseases where we claim, that Ayurveda works, we need to develop a lot of evidence, right? And then there are, yes, adverse reactions and toxicity issues. It could be there. Any medicine can have side effects. Huh? See, sometimes side effect, the understanding of side effect is problematic in our society. For example, if codeine phosphate, for example, which is used in the treatment of cough, it induces constipation, right? So in this case, it is a side effect. But the same medicine can be used as a treatment in diarrhea, then it is effect. So the labeling of effect and side effect depends on the context. It is contextual understanding. So if someone says that Ayurveda doesn't have any side effects, you should not take that person seriously, because effect and side effects are contextual. Hope I'm able to drive this point clearly. Now, misleading advertisements, many drugs being sold as OTC products, and all this is problematic. I agree. No mechanism for evidence informed policy making. This is another problem. If a common man wants to seek, see, some problem you develop, some health problem, there is no mechanism to tell you clearly that which physician you should be approaching. This is a problem, right? So every other day, all sorts of pharmacies, they say, even Ayurveda can cure BP, it can cure diabetes and all that. All such tall claims are made without good evidence, and this is a problem, right? So these are some problematic areas I'm talking about. So yes, patent and proprietary medicines. Classical Ayurveda preparations, of course, they have gone in, they have been in use for thousands of years. But many of these pharmacies nowadays, they are coming up with their own formulations, which are not there in the textbooks. And these such medical formulations, they are to be cautiously viewed at. There is no sufficient data to say that they are safe or effective, right? All that. So many of these are not backed up by good trials and even preclinical toxicity studies. So these are certain lacunae that exists in the current system of Ayurveda. So I think this is the last slide of my presentation. So what should promoting Ayurveda mean? See, again, we are talking about Ayurveda should be promoted. Okay, we all agree with that. Traditional systems of India, right, Indian origin, it has to be promoted definitely. But what does it mean? It should should it be about establishing new institutions and universities and colleges, or should it be organizing international events to popularize Ayurveda, or should it be about encouraging and marketing of Ayurvedic medicinal plants and products, or exports continue contributing to economy, or promoting tourism, medicinal plant cultivation or marketing and all that, or should it be about building evidence base and promoting scientific inquiry into Ayurveda? And above all, should it be about prioritizing public health above all? So we need to think on these questions seriously. And I think for us, the public health should be the most important priority, and everything else can come next. So evidence, we speak of evidence based medicine. Even the modern medicine is not, it is not ideal, the way how it is practiced, because they say that it has to be evidence based medicine. Evidence based medicine has got three pillars. Nobody talks about the two pillars, only we talk about published evidence. What about the other two pillars? Patient preferences, patient values, and physicians judgment. These are two more pillars which we do not talk about. Similarly, Ayurvedic physicians, we talk about these two pillars. Yes, patient has come to me, so it is my right to prescribe him Ayurveda, whether it helps him or not. See, this is the problem, right? There is a gap, communication gap, and we don't want to, build evidence, publish evidence. So we ignore published evidence pillar, and we talk about physician's judgment, physician's experience, and patient preferences. Whereas modern science doctors, most of them, they talk about published evidence and they ignore these two pillars. So unless and until we don't evolve a mechanism where there is sufficient, where we enable a patient, a commoner, to take informed decision, we won't be doing justice to public health. So I think with this, yes, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and I will be happy to take up questions if any. Thank you.
So before that, I read about your profile.
Yeah.
Your interesting research topic on physiology also.
Yes.
Just brief as what your research activities on that.
Okay. Actually, okay. Thank you. Well, my career has been a tortuous journey. So I was not happy when I completed my BAMS and MD. Though I did my MD in Ayurveda, Kriya Shari, that is physiology. I was not very happy. Then I got interested in Ayurvedic education part, and that's why I took up education as my major area of work. And then I worked in Ayurvedic physiology also. Like, we have done some work on Prakriti, and we have tried to see how the different people belonging to different Prakriti, how do they behave, especially with respect to some autonomic responses. This we have documented, and we have published some work, and we have developed some tools to identify, the classical textbooks mentioned, right? You can identify the Agni of an individual, the digestion capacity or Prakriti of an individual. But there are no standardized tools even today. I mean, there are so many tools rather, and very good validated tools are not there. So we tried to develop these tools. We have come up with Prakriti assessment tool, which is somewhat validated and standardized, but again, there it needs a lot more work to be done there. For Agni assessment, we have done another tool, and all that we have been doing. But one of my work was about interpreting Ayurvedic principles in terms of modern physiology, and I thought this was very important. But slowly I realized that this is what is making Ayurveda a pseudoscience. If we say that everything what is written in Ayurveda is equivalent to modern physiology, by torturing and superimposing modern physiology on Ayurvedic texts, we are making it pseudoscience. Then I retracted some of my views and I wrote an article called Confessions of an Ayurveda Professor, which went viral actually, and where I retracted most of my views on Ayurveda physiology. I said that no, this is not the correct approach. So that's why I told you that my career in Ayurveda has been tortuous, and now I'm trying to work on, again, Prakriti is one of my areas of core interest, where we are looking at the psychological domain, especially giving more emphasis on psychological domain, like in children, learning patterns, and all that we have been trying to analyze, and we have been trying to identify whether this Prakriti based intervention could be of help in learning disabilities, and all that we are doing. Yeah, with this, yeah, I think that is how I can explain my work.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? You can unmute yourself and you can ask the question directly. Kagli, sir, any questions?
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Huh.
What Ayurveda needs is a proper certification of medicine, which nobody is doing. A proper authority to test all the medicines and certify them, therefore thereby building the trust in the medicines. That is very essential, and the government and the private agency, they have to do it. I don't know why nobody is doing that properly. Could you please comment on that?
No, see, actually, it is a huge work, sir. What happens is, one single formulation, maybe for example, Dashamularshta, it contains, multiple herbs, and each herb can contain some hundreds of different chemicals. So standardization of these formulations is extremely difficult task to identify what chemical is there, which molecule is there, in which concentration it is there, and does it work, in which season the drug has to be collected, and all that. It is a very complex thing, and standardizing a pharmaceutical product as per modern standards, like paracetamol. If you take a paracetamol tablet, you know that it contains this particular molecule and this particular amount. But in Ayurvedic formulations, if you take Dashamula Arishta, how much of different plant ingredients are there, in which quantity, which concentration, which molecule, it is going to be a Herculean task. It is very, very difficult. It will take another 100 years to do this. So what we can do is, yes, to test them whether this works in particular disease or not, in what kind of patients it works. So this clinical testing is more important than pharmaceutical standardization. Of course, pharmaceuticals basic standardization is definitely essential. If there are some adulterants like steroids and antibiotics in Dashimula Arishta, it makes no sense at all, right? That has to be done, definitely, I agree with you. But going as per the modern pharmaceutical protocols for standardization is extremely difficult. So alternatively, what we can do is biological standardization, right? There are some animal models, maybe Drosophila model. Some work has been done where it has been shown that this particular fly model can be used as a good model to say that yes, this particular formulation is standard or not. So several work is going on. There are several people who are working, several institutions they are working, but it is a long journey, sir. It is not going to happen overnight. So
Yes, sir, but
certificate,
that process has to be started, but somehow,
it is going
unless
on.
you begin.
It is going on. There is an institution called Central Council for Research in
Yes,
Ayurvedic Sciences, CCRAS.
yes,
They are doing
yes,
a lot of work, and many more institutions they are working on this. So a lot of work is going on, sir. There is a pharmacopoeia committee which has come up with so many monographs, and of course this work is going on. I thought you were aware of basic things, but these basic things are already going on. There are HPTLC documents for each formulation, and all that is matching, and all that is going on. But again, yes, the implementation of stringent rules is problematic. But yes, it will hopefully it will be done someday soon.
yeah. That's good. Only then people will begin to accept it as a very good scheme of
Absolutely.
medicine.
Absolutely. It is going on, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
Sooner the
sir.
better.
Shobha ma'am.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರೇ, ಒಂದು ಸೊ ಕೆನ್ ಐ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ?
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am, please.
ಓಕೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಹೋಮಿಯೋಪತಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹರ್ಬಲ್. Ayurveda, as you said in the beginning of your talk, it has so many some metals and all those hypothetical maybe concepts in the public. ಸರ್, ಈ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ಗೆ ಅಲೋಪತಿ, ಆಯುರ್ವೇದ, ಹೋಮಿಯೋಪತಿ ಈ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ವಿ ಟೆನ್ ಟು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹುಷಾರಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಾಗ ವಿ ಗೋ ಟು ಆಯುರ್ವೇದ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ವಿ ಗೋ ಟು ಹೋಮಿಯೋಪತಿ.
ಹಾ, ಹೇಳಿ. ಹಲೋ,
Maybe network problem, sir.
ಓಕೆ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ,
ಹಲೋ,
ಹೇಗೆ
ಹೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಸರ್, ಫಾರ್ಮಸಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ನಾವು ಹೋದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಹೌ ಸೇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್?
Actually, basic understanding is that pharmacist is not a doctor. So if he is selling something without you asking him, it means he has got some commercial vested interest. That is very simple.
Okay.
ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿರೋದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬೇಕು, ವಿಚ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಈಗ ಸಿವಿಯರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಆಗ ದೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಆಂಟಿಬಯೋಟಿಕ್ಸ್. ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ serious infectious condition like septicemia cannot be treated through Ayurveda. It is very clear, and it has to be there. But some gastrointestinal diseases like constipation or something else, ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So actually we need to create a mechanism where we can give this information to the public, and public be made aware and empowered to take their own decisions. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಎನೇಬಲ್, ನಾವು ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಎನೇಬಲ್ ದಮ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದಾಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಹಿಯರ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೈ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾನೆ, ಅಥವಾ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೈ ಗ್ಲೂಕೋಸ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ಸೊ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದನೇ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಅನ್ ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ. ವೆನ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ 220/100, ಆಗ ನೀವು ಆಯುರ್ವೇದ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಡಿಸೀವಿಂಗ್ ದಿ ಪೇಷಂಟ್. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಡೂ ದಿಸ್. ಆಗ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಟು ಎಜುಕೇಟ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಬರ್ಲಿ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ 120/80 ಬರ್ಲಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡೋಣ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಟೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಬಟ್ now you should take modern medicine ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಯು ಗೋ ಟು ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯಾಲಜಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ಗೋ ಟು ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಫಿಸಿಷಿಯನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಆಯುರ್ವೇದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಕಳಿಸಬಹುದು ಅಂತ, ಅದು ಅವನಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವೇರ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಕಿಂಗ್. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫೈಟ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಯಾವತ್ತು ನಮ್ದು ದೊಡ್ಡದು, ನಾವು ದೊಡ್ಡವರು, ನೀವು ದೊಡ್ಡವರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಫೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಬಾದರ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೇಕ್ಸ್ ಮಿ ವರ್ಕ್. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೈ ಕನ್ಸರ್ನ್.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ? some age related, for example, hormone impact in the obesity and lot of sufferings and knee pain and other, ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ರೆಮಿಡಿ ಇದೆಯಾ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರೆ, ವಿತೌಟ್ ಸರ್ಜರಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್?
ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ನಾನು ಈ ತರದ್ದು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಐ ವೋಂಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯು ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅನ್ಎಥಿಕಲ್. ಸೊ need to go to a specific doctor and then he will or she will examine, because without examining and
I know.
So it is a bit problematic, hence I won't be able to give answer to such questions.
Thank you doctor. Thanks.
Sure. Most welcome.
Any more questions?
I have one question.
Pani.
Sir, when it comes to psychology or psychiatric disorders, or even psychological disorders, so is there any treatment or cure or way that Ayurveda can help, like psychiatry especially, like.
Good. Yenandre, actually, okay. The thing is that psychiatry is still a branch that is still evolving, even modern psychiatry. ಆಯ್ತಾ
Yes, yes.
ಸೊ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್ ಟು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಡಯಾಗ್ನೋಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಫಾರ್ ಡಿಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ psychosis and other such different psychiatric disorders is still very very subjective. They also use a questionnaire kind of thing. So diagnosis and treatment, sometimes it is trial and error that they also do. But
Yeah.
ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು there are some drugs which have this antipsychotic activity. But ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ the level of evidence, mild depression ಅಲ್ಲಿ for example we may have to offer something. But if it is major depression or psychosis, I think Ayurveda should not venture into such things, at least without getting good evidence, because a patient might commit suicide if he is in deep depression. Better to refer him to a good psychiatrist rather than trying with Ayurveda. Ultimately, my idea is that we should more be focusing more on generating evidence and good quality evidence. There are drugs,
Yeah.
tumba drugs mentioned ಇದೆ, but many of them could be harmful even if they are misused. Using a drug is very tricky. In all patients the same drug may not work. So all this
Okay.
it's a lot of research, yes. But yes, some mild form of maybe anxiety, for example, anxiety like conditions, we have good things to offer. ಪಂಚಕರ್ಮ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಶಿರೋಧಾರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಥರದ್ದು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, they will work well in mild anxiety or maybe generalized anxiety disorders or mild depression. ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ solutions ಇದೆ. But again, in severe diseases, I doubt.
Okay, okay. So Angadre, like, so Jasti, if we had done more research into this, so there could be some, like, there could
Definitely,
be.
definitely, yes.
Okay, so like, is there any reason why, like, the research is not being done in that area? Like, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ?
ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸೈಕ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮಾನಸ ರೋಗ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಯ್ತಾ. ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಯ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸಾ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಮಾನಸ ರೋಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಡೂ ಸಮ್ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್. ಬಟ್ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇನ್ ನೇಸೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್. ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ research protocols, they vary a lot from one physician to another, one center to another. So there is no good data to do a meta analysis or systematic review. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದು ನಾವು ವಿ ಸೇ ದಟ್ ನೋ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲೈಸ್ಡ್ ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್. ಪ್ರತಿ ಪೇಷಂಟಿಗೂ ನಮ್ದು ಮೆಡಿಸಿನ್ ಡಿಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದಾಗಿ, which of course not a very evidence based argument, but somehow Ayurvedic physicians are hesitant to subject themselves to strict scientific scrutiny. This is what I can say you. And I think we need to come out of this hesitation. We should submit ourselves, or subject ourselves to a more and more rigorous kind of scientific scrutiny. This is what I can say.
Okay, okay. So that was okay, that is possible. Okay, but hasn't done until now. Okay, so clear.
Some work is going on. If you search on PubMed, you will get something, but not of very high level of evidence. It is a low level evidence. This is what I would say.
Okay, so ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೌಟ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, like, so this, since Ayurveda has originated a long time ago, like, I don't know if you have told this, like, ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಕೆಲಸ ಇತ್ತು, ಟಾಕ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. So right now, it has been thousands of years since it was born. So are there any changes in the diagnosis tools, and is any research, like new kind of medicine? Like, there are new diseases that has been born that was not there at that time. So relating to that, any new medicine for that, or like you said, like, we're using metals and all, like, recently. So so like, are we heading towards that? So
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನಂದ್ರೆ see what has happened is, the definition of Ayurveda legally the definition of Ayurveda restricts us from taking up any new medicine or new drug which has not been documented in classical textbooks. There is a list of textbooks of which are considered as classical textbooks. We are legally bound to restrict ourselves within to those textbooks. So whatever is there documented in those textbooks, we are doing. A lot of research is going on. ಹೊಸ ಹೊಸ disease ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ try ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. That work is going on, and new drugs in the sense, yes, identifying particular component, maybe active principle taken out from a medicinal plant. Such work is also going on, but unfortunately that becomes a property of modern medicine and doesn't remain Ayurvedic anymore. Atropine, for example, there are so many drugs of modern medicine which were originally derived from medicinal plants, which have been discussed in Ayurveda and which have been used in Ayurveda. But ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, once you isolate a particular chemical component and then isolate it, then try it and concentrate it, and then that becomes a property of modern medicine, and that doesn't remain Ayurveda anymore. See, these are some legal issues and some uh, uh, executive issues which are problematic. So we
Okay,
are
okay.
bound to restrict ourselves to whatever is written in Ayurvedic textbooks.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, one more question. Ayurveda and yoga ಹೇಗ್ ರಿಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್? ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್.
ಓಕೆ, ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಗದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬರೋದು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದಿಕ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಗದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೋಗ ದ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಅಷ್ಟಾಂಗ ಯೋಗ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಆಸನ ಪ್ರಾಣಾಯಾಮ ಇಂಥದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ನೌ ವಿ ಟೀಚ್ ಯೋಗ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಇಯರ್ BMS ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ BMS ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ದೊಂದು ಸ್ವಸ್ಥ ವೃತ್ತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಟೀಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಒಂದು half of the paper is for entirely dedicated for yoga. So that is how it is integrated now. But originally, if you go through the textbooks of Ayurveda, ಯೋಗದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಸಿಗೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ, ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದಿಕ್ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಗನ
incorporate. Yes. Now the physicians incorporate yoga, of course.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions?
Even mudra also can be incorporated, no sir, in the Ayurveda.
ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಆಯುರ್ವೇದದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಈವನ್ ಯೋಗಾಸನ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲ. But of course, now we teach it, and now this integration has happened. But originally Ayurveda textbooks ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಯಾವುದೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈವನ್ ಆಸನ ಪ್ರಾಣಾಯಾಮ ಕೂಡ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ರೇರ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ.
Yes, sir. For dementia patient, anything can be done from Ayurvedic perspective, sir.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಅರ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಮೆನ್ಷಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೆಲವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ನಮ್ದು ಒಂದು ವರ್ಕ್ in Drosophila model, we have done some work actually, where we have shown that some Ayurvedic formulations probably work in reducing the symptoms and other things. Biological activity we have shown. ಈಗ ಕೆಲವು ಕಲ್ಯಾಣಕ ಘೃತ, ಈ ತರದ್ದು ಕೆಲವು ಡ್ರಗ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಧನ್ವಂತರಂ ಕಷಾಯ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಸಾರಸ್ವತಾರಿಷ್ಟ, ಈ ತರದ್ದು ಕೆಲವು ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ವೆಲ್. ಬಟ್ ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, physicians are practicing, patients are getting benefited, but we don't have good evidence. This is the problem. Published evidence ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ.
Yes, sir.
So there are no good clinical trials and no good.
And particularly they are hydrophobic, like dementia advanced agvaga. So to give any drugs also, it is very, very difficult for them.
Advanced dementia, I can say that we don't have anything to, any significant role to play. In early cases, yes, we may have. In advanced cases, I don't think Ayurveda can do anything. Of course, this is my personal opinion.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No doubts. Any other doubts ಇದೆಯಾ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರು?
Pani, 1 minute. ಸರ್, ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಷನ್ ಈ ಟೈಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಕಾಮನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟಿಪ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಸಜೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳೋದಾದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
Okay. Well, what I would like to say is that a commoner should be open-minded. You know, many a times what we see is that, you know, there. See, if a person ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, many a times someone says that, you know, this got cured because of Ayurveda. You go to Ayurveda. So maybe acne might have been cured because of Ayurveda, but that doesn't mean that Ayurveda can cure all sorts of cancers also. See, here we need to exercise discretion. What kind of, you know, disease do I have, and what does it require actually? This kind of critical thinking is required among our public also. You know, don't fall, you know, prey to blindly to see these advertisements, you know, and you know, I mean, not only for Ayurveda, even for modern medicine. You know, don't think that everything can be, you know, modern medicine itself is the solution for everything, right? Each and everything. That is also a wrong thing. Similarly, for all diseases, Ayurveda can give some solutions. This is also a wrong thing. So patients should be, as a commoner, should be open-minded to go for, you know, physicians, and they should seek alternatives. You know, whenever they go to an Ayurvedic physicians, they should seek whether this can be better cured by modern medicine. Similarly, if they go to a modern physician, they can ask that, you know, can I go for an alternative you know, medicine system? But unfortunately, we don't have this kind of open-mindedness among the physicians themselves. So it is, I know that this expectation is far-fetched, you know, unreasonable. But I wish to see such a, you know, society where commoners are you know, empowered to take decisions for themselves. An informed decision, again, not decisions everybody takes, but we should be able to take informed decisions. So do some search, you know, maybe literature search, and then you decide and consult some physicians, and again go to physicians who are whom you trust. You know, trust is something very important. So the concept of family physician is fast vanishing. I think we need to bring that back once again. We don't have family physicians. So family physicians would actually be the ideal physicians to direct or inform you that, okay, this problem, okay, this can be better treated by this physician. This problem can be better treated by other physician. So this is lacking in a current day, you know, situation. But we need to, I think, empower our commoners to take informed decisions. And that is why I would like to say that don't blindly have belief in anything. Don't blindly believe anything. You know, exercise your critical thinking skills. This is what I would you know, like to say.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
So since you have told this, you gave this advice. So I have one more follow-up questions. Like, if you're okay, like we have crossed 20 minutes.
It is fine.
Uh,
Perfect.
yeah. So there's this common myth. I call it myth, even though I don't know if it's a myth or not. Is because they say that if you're taking Western medicine, taking Ayurvedic medicine at the same time could lead to some like disaster or is dangerous. So could it be true? If it's true, to what level is it true?
See, there is something called herb drug interaction. Right? Some herbs, they interact with, you know, drugs, the modern drugs, especially within your body. When the metabolism is going on, some drugs, some herbs can induce some enzymes which can degrade the modern medicine. So all this is
Okay.
possible. But again, see, food also can do the same thing. This is called
Yeah.
there is something called food drug interaction. So, you know, the question is very pertinent, and lot of research needs to be done in these areas. As of now, we have got minimal information. Of course, if you search on Google for herb drug interaction, you will get some good studies. But that is not sufficient. What you have asked is, yes, it is possible. Herbs can interfere with modern medicine, and they can either increase or decrease their metabolism, or increase or decrease their effects. It is possible. That is why always it is better to seek medical advice whenever you start something else. You inform your doctor. It is the best thing to do. Be transparent. If you are using Ayurveda along with modern medicine, you tell both the doctors that yes, I am doing this. At least both of them should be aware of what you are going to do. This is what I would say.
Okay.
Transparency is the best thing.
Okay. Okay.
Drug interaction is possible. A very good question. Yes, but there is minimal amount of research on this. Single herbs, we have got research. Some studies are there. Like this drug should not be given along with this, modern medicine. On all that has come up. But we use formulations where a single formulation may contain some 50 or 60 herbs. So how do we
Oh,
say that? Yes, this is the problem.
yeah, like yeah, doing research on 60 to 50 herbs in single form, that will be little
Exactly,
complex.
exactly.
Complex.
It's very complex. Correct. Correct.
And one more thing is, I've heard this that they say that Ayurveda is like cure from Ayurvedic medicine is slower compared to the Western medicine.
That depends on what condition you are suffering from. These
No,
things cannot be
they
generalized. This no, 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 no,
no,
no. A
okay, okay,
generalized notion is wrong. That
okay, okay.
no, no, no. It is wrong. It is wrong.
Okay, okay, because I've heard that when we say that if there is cough or something, so we just take some Western syrup, we wear it like for that instant it will go away. Or we can say that it cures in 1 week. But when I say that, okay, let's take Ayurvedic, people will like, no, Ayurvedic will take more time than the Western medicine. So they try to generalize
This is
as like for
generalized.
everything.
Yeah, that is generally. See, cough. See, cough itself is a symptom. It is not a disease itself. There could be hundreds of reasons why you have got cough. So in every
Yes.
cough, every kind of cough, we cannot say that this is slow or this is fast. That depends on the type of cough, the reasons for cough.
Okay.
This kind of having a generalized notion is a problematic for anything. You cannot
Okay.
generalize these things.
Okay. Okay, sir. Yeah.
ಪಣಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕೃತಿಕಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನಿಮ್ ಪರಿಚಯ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾ?
Madam,
ನಿಮ್
pardon?
ಪರಿಚಯ.
I'm Dr. Kritika. I'm actually a allopathic gynecologist. I
Yes.
was working with JSS Medical College, Mysuru. Recently, I left the job and very much interested in integrating the medicine. Now, little bit of Ayurveda with Vasant Latsa's 2-3 conferences and yoga, mudra, acupressure, all those things I'm reading and all those just connecting points. Sometimes they are telling yoga, yoga, but all pitta people already they are enthusiastic, they are going for yoga and their pitta is increasing and they are getting acidity more like that. Some relation right now I am just teaching online mudras specifically as it is easy and effective compared to others, as well as with the allopathic investigation I'm telling this mudras as a supportive with whatever treatment they are having initially. Later on, after overlapping with the maintenance phase with mudras like that, it is working out nicely. Some of the psoriasis cases gone completely within 4 to 6 months, which for me itself, okay, oh, with the dedicated people commitment, this much, this thing we could see. And it is effective as a parallelly we can start with whatever treatment they are going on and continue it and maintaining it for that. Thank you for arranging this
I
monthly
request
meeting.
to publish these case reports whenever you find time. Please
Yes,
publish
sir.
reports so that everybody will be benefited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How to go really that ignorance is there. Like with mudra therapy, with how it means we how to do it and to whom to contact for this, sir.
Ma'am, I have send a one group link. Okay, you can join that group. I'll be the admin. So that
Yes,
you
ma'am.
text me, I'll connect with the sir so that you can contact him.
Sure.
Please
Yes,
go
ma'am.
and check the chat box, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do that. I'll do that. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. Thank you very much, sir, Kishore sir, and
Sure.
thank you this entire group. Yes.
Okay. Pani, you can conclude.
Okay, so this ends. Okay, so like more 25 minutes, we've crossed 4 o'clock, like 25 minutes extra. So I hope sir doesn't feel bad about it. So when it comes to such interactions, like everyone is usually curious. We get rare opportunity
Yeah.
to interact this. So and then like we can clear all our doubts. So I hope we didn't bother you by taking your extra time.
No, it was a pleasure. It was pleasure, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So let's end the talk here. Thank you for your great experience and like all the information that it's usually not found. Even though we search in internet, we don't get this clarification. Like interacting is way different than just searching some
Right.
Google, and
You can
we won't
usually
have the
get,
authentication as well.
one-sided articles or papers. This is the problem.
Yeah.
Uh,
And we
I,
don't have any authentication, who is writing it or what is their background. Yeah, so that's
true.
what. And
Very true.
yeah. So thank you so much, sir. We hope
Thank
in
you.
some future sessions we can meet again.
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely. Sure.
you can take us to your Ayurvedic lab or your college. You can show how you like
Sure.
do the formulation and all.
I'm not
Uh,
expert in that field, but I can, yes, introduce you, some of my colleagues.
yes.
Definitely. Yes. That
Mhm.
can be done.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's end the talk for here today.
Sure,
Thank
sure.
Mm.
you.
Thank you. Yeah. Namaste.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Kritika ma'am, please join our WhatsApp group, ma'am, so that we will be in contact.